Welcome to Exploring Esports, your gateway into the essentials with the experts. I'm your host, Renessa, and this week we are queuing into some Dota 2 with PyrionFlax. Now, Pyrion,
Hello.
This is about learning Dota 2. This is all about Dota 2, but important, very first question.
Okay.
What happened to Bald Boys Studios?
It's a sad story. Because it ended up costing me quite a bit of money. There was, I think it was TI6, maybe it was TI5, and Shane was there, and we decided to form our own studio because we just thought it would be funny. So some people made some artwork for us, and we went to one of those places where you get business cards made and got business cards made, and we were really pleased. And we left them, and a bunch of the other guys that we know from Discord and from Dota in general were leaving them on the seats at TI, which is the international. It's like a big Dota tournament every year, and it was just a joke. But then when we got back to the UK, I got back to the UK, Shane went back to Ireland. There was a guy that I had met. I'm not going to mention any names, but people will know who I'm talking about if they're on the scene. And he wanted to set up a Dota event. And he told me money was no object. And I went and looked at a bunch of places and got all pricing and came to him. And he was like, yeah, no problem. And then when the day came for the money to go through to these places that I'd booked, he said he couldn't do it. And that was that. And I was kind of distraught because it had been a month of real stress trying to sort this out and chase it down. So we forgot about Ball Boy Studios. And then I got a tax filing thing through from HMRC, which is like the IRS over here. And they said, file your taxes for Ball Boy Studios. And I was like, well, we haven't done any business, so they obviously don't mean us. And then fast forward a few months, and I got a letter saying you didn't file your taxes, you need to pay a fine. And I called them up, and I was like, we didn't do any business. It doesn't matter. I was like, all right, well, it literally would have been 0 in every field. They said it doesn't matter. I was like, fine. So I shut the company down. So I had to pay the fine and the cost of making the company was like 15 quid. The cost of the fine was an awful lot more than that. So lesson learned. So sadly, Ball Boy Studios is no more. But people do still sometimes tweet me pictures of the business card. I've got a bunch of them around somewhere, but I don't know where at the moment. But it was a great time. A lot of hope, but it never happened.
I do have one that Shane gave me at that TI. It's saved.
Good.
Saved in my
Hold on
my
to
Dota.
it.
Yeah.
Because you never know, one day, maybe we'll be back. But yeah, not for the time being.
It's worth something to me. So for all of our listeners and viewers right now, you just got a nice little slice into the esports life. I think that's a very realistic look at what happens to a lot of things in esports, especially early esports, because Pyrion has been in the Dota world for a while. So let's launch into that so people know where you're coming from. When did you get started in Dota? Let's roll the wheel back.
2012, I think. My first game was in 2012, early 2012. And I'd been playing EVE Online for about 3 or 4 years at that point. And a bunch of the guys that I played EVE with, some of them also played Dota, and one of them in particular said, because we quit EVE altogether. We were all like, we're done. And then we were all looking for a new game to play together, and my mate was like, well, why don't you try Dota? And I'd already tried League. I'd played 2 games of League at that point, and I hated it. So I was like, what's it like? He was like, it's like League. And I was like, that's probably not going to work, but whatever. So I played it, and we played the first game we played. He was shouting at me, and he was super angry, and I think I played Bounty Hunter or Shadow Shaman or something like that, and it was awful. It was awful. And I remember him getting really, really angry, and it was unbelievable. I remember one of my very first games I played Sven, and I went 1-30, and looking at my items, in like a 40-minute game, I had like nothing, so God knows what I was doing. But even though it was a brutal experience, I was hooked straight away. And I naturally did what most people do when you're in a new game and you want to kind of understand it. I thought, well, I'll go to the internet and find out how to play. Purge had his guides, but nothing on YouTube, really. It was all just, it was like a webpage, welcome to Dota 2, you suck, which is like Purge's famous sort of essay, I guess. And I noticed that there were highlights. There was a thing called Woe Dota, I don't know if that's before your time, but it was basically highlights from mainly, I think, Chinese Dota 1 streams, if not streams in actual games, with this banging soundtrack over the top. And it was great. I mean, I had no idea what was going on, but it was great. And I was getting into Dota, and I was, new heroes were coming out. Cyborg Matt was doing a weekly blog where he would pick apart the patch files and show you all the textures and assets for new heroes. It was very exciting. And all the Dota 1 players were like, oh my God, Dota's back and it's better than ever and blah, blah, blah. And it was solving a big problem that Dota 1 had. I didn't know this, but basically I was like completely hooked because it felt like this rich world that I was stepping into. There was this history. There were all these personalities in it. And I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. There's so much to learn. So I just started playing it. And then I noticed that no one was really talking about the fact that Dota is unbelievably hard. And that's funny. Like that, there's humor there. So I did my YouTube guides to the heroes, and I was like, how come no one's done anything on these guys? Because they're like hilarious, and the lore behind them is sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's just terrible. I just thought it was hilarious, the names and their spells, and how some of them just feel so overpowered. So I just started making guides, and one of them blew up on Reddit, and I think a friend of mine posted it on the Dota 2, I don't even know there was a Dota 2 subforum at that point, but someone posted it online, and it was on the front page, and a bunch of people watched it and liked it. And then LD and Lumi got in touch with me almost straight away, and they were doing something called, I think it was called Dota Replays, I think was the name of their website. And it was one of the worst websites you've ever seen. It really looked like early days internet. It was just text with no pictures. It was dotacommentaries.com or something, and it was just links to replays of games, and you could watch these replays and their commentary over the top of it. And they worked incredibly hard doing that. They did an awful lot of games, and they were like, we got to do something. We couldn't figure out what. And then TI2 came around, and Bruno got in touch and said, Valve really likes your videos. And
for those
he
watching,
was like,
I want to describe what these videos are. I want to give you some context here, because actually I believe it was one of your videos that was the first piece of Dota content I ever watched after I've been playing for a little bit. And imagine your 5-year-old brings a drawing home from school. And I think that was the art style you were going for.
Yes, that was the art style I was going for.
And drawing out different Dota scenes and giving you the basics of a hero. And I believe the one that blew up was about this hero, Wraith King. Definitely never had another name. No copyright infringement here. That had only one button to the hero. So it was this very, very funny video making fun of the fact that this really, really complicated game with all the stuff going on had a character where you really only ever had to hit one button to play him.
One button, perfect. Yeah. Great beginner hero, it felt like. And I like the original actual guide to Dota did really well. And I did all stupid things, like I had little raps in there and animations, and a friend of mine did a song for one, and yeah, it was crazy. And then before TI3, I did a pub stomp, which is like, I don't know if they have them over there. I think they do, actually. You just go to a pub
we've had them.
and you watch a game, and so we did one in North London, me and Cyborg Matt and a couple of other guys, and Bruno and James, who were two of the guys on the scene that were like the most prominent at the time, they called in like via satellite phone or whatever to this pub, and people were just losing their shit behind us. It was hilarious. They were all going nuts. We were watching the qualifiers, and it was great. We filled the pub. It was a Sunday, and the pub said this is the best Sunday they'd ever had. And we just had a projector with the game up on a screen, and there were people literally trying to squeeze in. It was amazing, and I really thought, this is so cool. Like, this is like a real scene. And we did we gave everybody plasticine. You know what that is? It's like adult Play-Doh. So it's like fancier than Play-Doh. It's like almost like rubber. And I said, make a Dota hero with this stuff, and the winner gets a load of gear from someone. I can't remember who it was. One of the peripheral makers and stuff. And there were all these people, and they loved it, and they knew all the guides. And I did badges. I made little buttons for everybody that with a picture of the hero on it, and you could wear those. And I thought, wow, this is like, these people just came out of the woodwork. Like, I didn't know this scene existed. And then once I started getting into Dota, you suddenly discover all these people that are into it. And it's magic. It's like magic. You go to these events, everybody's just a Dota fan, and it's fantastic. So, yeah, it was really something.
And this was 8 years ago that Pyrion started playing.
Well, 9, nearly. In fact,
yeah.
it was 9 years ago now, yeah.
Yeah, so we've hit 9, and there weren't really any good resources to learn then.
Yeah.
Now, I got a great question for you. We're 9 years later. This is a super popular game. Millions and millions every year in prize money and player base and all of that. How do people learn how to play the game now? What resources exist for them?
So I get asked that a lot when I'm streaming Dota, because I stream a lot of games, not just Dota, but mainly Dota. But a lot of the people that watch my stream come from the Yogscast, and they watch me do other things, whether it's the podcast that we do or other videos I've done. And they come and watch Dota, they're like, I have no idea what's going on. This sounds really cool. I want to get into it. Where do I start? And I think with any other game, you can honestly just pick it up and have a go. It's almost impossible with Dota to watch the game and understand what's happening. I know that I've spoken to a bunch of people about this, because every time the International happens, especially a few years ago when it was really incomparable, there was nothing like it. People were like, this looks so amazing. I watched it. I had no idea what was going on, but the commentators were so good. I really enjoyed it. How do I get into it? How do you learn more? I am closing in on 10,000 hours in the game, and I'm still completely average at this game, at best. It's an incredibly dense game, and they keep patching it and changing it and all the rest of it. So how do you get into it? Genuinely, what is your opening gambit? Well, first of all, you just have to play it. I think that's the number one thing. It would be like trying to learn how to play anything or do anything without actually doing it. Part of Dota is you just have to dive in. You have to kind of find a community or some friends that are willing to put up with your abysmal plays. And that's one thing that we've been trying to do over the last year. We do an in-house tournament on a Tuesday on my Discord with all the guys on the Discord, and they play against each other, 5v5, captain's mode, and we will commentate on the game. And we'll criticize what they're doing, tell them what they could have done, what they could have picked. Sometimes we have coaches helping them draft a team. You just got to play. And honestly, I've seen people who've played 3 or 4 games, and after a couple of months, they're learning quickly. If you want to learn the game, and you're playing it and you pay attention, and you actually watch the way the pros play, or the way better MMR players play, so higher ranked players play. You don't need to be as amazing as them off the bat. But it would be like adjusting your golf swing because of something you saw Tiger Woods do or something, or his choice of club or how he approaches a shot. You're not going to play like him, but you could maybe take a cue from the kind of things he does. So I feel like with Dota, you just got to dive in. You can't sit there hoping to learn the game because it's impossible. It would be like learning to drive by reading the manual. You've got to get behind the wheel and have a go. You're going to crash a few times. Don't worry. It's just a Dodgem. It's just a bumper car. You'll be okay. It's just a video game. Just mute all your teammates and play. That would be my best advice.
Yeah, that is find friends to play with, mute some teammates. We're really, really making a great case here to try the game out. But this interview is going to release just a few days after the anime drops on Netflix. So there's a good chance we have a decent influx of players. And so hopefully they can kind of... be encouraged by just fight through it for a while. It's like an anime struggle. That's what it is, at
is
first.
It? I wouldn't know because I don't watch anime, but I'll believe you. I do think it is worth persisting with. It is genuinely a very rewarding game. The depths of Dota are honestly limitless. There is no skill ceiling because when you watch the very best players in the world, they'll make mistakes, and you'll see them still improving, and you'll see teams improving, figuring out the game. These new patches come along and completely change the meta. You've got to adapt again. They add new heroes, they add new items, they change the map slightly. So it's constantly evolving. I think the best thing to do is to learn just a few simple core mechanics, and your game will go from there. Learn how to farm well on your hero, last hitting creeps. Learn how to cast your spells, learn just a few heroes, learn about moving around the map, learn about paying attention to the mini-map. That's a big one, because that gives you a little clue as to what you can see, noticing enemies and stuff like that. But honestly, after a few thousand hours, you'll be there. You'll be a noob just like the rest of us.
Easy. Okay,
It's ridiculous. There's no other game in the world, Vanessa, where I would say to you, for the first 1,000 hours, it's going to suck. That's ridiculous. 10,000 hours in anything, you should be an expert. In Dota, you could, like me, you could still be god awful. 10,000 hours.
I just cracked about Yeah, I just hit about 9,500, so I'm I'm there with you. Okay, so here's the second important thing about Dota. We talked about the community and how even joining in 2012, there was this pre-existing almost like wall to get through of all these people who already knew everything. When you enter into Dota, you're gonna get spammed with 322, Navi fans. There's a bunch of things like that. What would you classify as the essential vocabulary of the scene for people who don't know all the history?
Do you mean in game? Or just
I think
the sort
general.
of lore behind the scene?
Yeah, like if you're going to go comment on Reddit or you're going to be in a Twitch stream and you want to have some chance of understanding what people are talking about. Like, what are those terms?
So 322 is pretty much code for throwing a game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's literally if someone throws the game in some horrible way, buys a very expensive item. There's an item called a rapier. If you get the rapier and you die, you drop it. And the enemy can then pick it up. It's like one of the most expensive items in the game. So it's very bad to drop it. So if you buy a rapier and lose it, and suddenly the game is turned around in the enemy's favor, in a chat you might see 322. It's a reference to somebody threw a game for money, and the amount of money that they threw for was $322, which is not really enough to give up your entire career, to be quite honest with you, but they did. So 322 became a sort of code. It became code for throwing a game, because the implication is it was such a big throw, this must have been deliberate. Like, it's literally, this must be a 322 situation. This guy must have taken money to have made this mistake. There's no way anyone is this stupid. So it's one of those code names. There's like a million of Twitch memes, but they pretty much, I'd say throwing the game is a big one. People, especially people that know Dota, when they see something unbelievable happen, you'll get the, pog champs will come flying out of the woodwork, and you might not have any idea what they're pogging about, but it's happened. Something amazing has happened. I mean, most Dota memes come down to big events that happen at a TI. That seems to be a big one. $6 million Echo Slam, the $1 million Dream Coil, these kind of things. So there are YouTube videos where you can see the big moment in every international. I recommend watching that. It's a nice journey back when Dota looked really bad in the early days, and then it gradually comes up to now. And the standard of play was a lot lower. Like, if you watch The Play, which is like one of the most famous plays in Dota, it's actually pretty standard by modern standards.
Yeah.
It's really by Dota 2 in 2021. It's like you see something like that every game. But it was like unbelievable at the time, because it was still a new game, really, Dota 2, Although Dota 1, so to give people an idea, Dota 1 was a mod for Warcraft 3, and it was just a map. You just downloaded the map and played it as a mod. There was no professional scene. There was no big company behind it. It was community maintained. And then Valve basically decided to make a proper version of the game and did that. So a lot of it, like if you talk to old Dota players, one of the things they love to do is refer to the Dota 2 heroes by their old Dota 1 name. So Sniper used to be Cardell Sharpeye and stuff like that. So that's a real one of people referencing the old hero names. Pyrion instead of Nature's Prophet is another one. There's a million of them. So that's always quite funny. But I would say once you get into the game, if you just watch it, because there's always a Dota stream going on Twitch. Always. Whether it's some DPC event or some other pro event or some tournament or just a big streamer streaming, just watch it. You'll see it. Or me, yeah, you can watch my stream. Thank you, Vanessa. Appreciate that. At twitch.tv/PyrionFlax. We don't turn away noobs. We have a lot of noobs in the channel. And they, generally speaking, we direct them to the Discord. We have a channel called Dota for New Goons, and the goons go in there and play with each other and learn the game. And asking stupid questions gets a genuinely good answer. You'd be amazed how helpful Dota players want to be, because it is so complex. You feel like you know so much. Like, you know what I mean? People come to you and say, "Can you explain what a Black King Bar does?" You're like, "Ah, yes, young one. The BKB will make you magic immune for 10 seconds, but every time you use it, it will reduce its duration by 1 second to a minimum of 5 seconds. The item costs 3,750 gold, I think, off the top of my head." And, and it's stuff like all this sort of help comes pouring out of you because you feel so knowledgeable. because there's so much to know. There's like over 100 heroes. There's a billion items. It's a nightmare, but it's great fun when you get into it.
Okay, so this will be our last question for helping people get oriented to this world.
All right.
Who would you say is the hero of Dota, and who is the villain?
Well, the villain's got to be Valve, right? I mean,
I was thinking individual like players or teams, right? But you might have a point there.
Valve is both the hero and the villain for Dota, depending on who you talk to. They've always been very good to me, I must say. But for the new players, I know that there are things like tutorials in the works to help you guys out. But that's like, it's 9 years overdue, so it's about time. But I think the timing is right. Like you said, the anime is coming out, if you want to call it that. I call it a cartoon. It's not an anime.
Got it, because you don't watch anime, so you have to.
Because I don't watch anime, so this is just a cartoon, absolutely. Yes. So that's probably, you're right, that probably is going to draw some more interest. And it should. I mean, Dota is, there's nothing else like it, honestly. So the hero of Dota, I would say, if you wanted to look at teams, OG, I think, is generally considered the hero of Dota. But Team Nigma, the old Team Liquid, the 1TI7, is also seen as a hero of Dota. Certain players, but like Old Alliance as well, are considered one of the heroes of Dota. Yeah. Like, these are teams that really won the hearts of the Western fans. If you went to China, you'd get a different answer. You go to Russia, you get a different answer as well, I'm sure. I'm talking about the Western scene, Europe and NA. We have a different view of the game. Our heroes tend to be the people that we rooted for or who did something unbelievable. And OG winning back-to-back internationals was definitely something that made them like the heroes. And if you watch them on True State, they are genuinely nice guys. I mean, I've hung out with them. They're all lovely. They are just sweethearts, and they're just like kids who were incredible at this game. And they're very close, and that's lovely to see. So to me, they're heroes. But I mean, I can't honestly tell you that like GH and Mind Control and Miracle and guys like that aren't just the sweetest guys you've ever met as well. So, but like Loda, Ake, these are just nice guys. So there's a lot of heroes on the scene. A lot of people, when you meet them, the pro players are just lovely. In terms of the talent that works on Dota, I love them all. Like, they're just so sweet. Like, I love going to events. Slacks is my absolute favorite person. Like, that I didn't know, but met through Dota. I love him. I absolutely love him to bits. He's just the nicest guy, and I'm so glad that he's done well in Dota. He's doing stuff for new players as well. I think he's doing tutorials as well. He's a great guy to watch. Not a great guy to learn from, I'll be honest with you, in terms of watching his streams. Not the best guy to learn from. He's insane, but he knows how to make content, and he will make a good new player guide for sure. Valve can be heroes, but they can also be villains sometimes, waiting on a new hero, waiting on a patch to come out, controversy around qualifications at DPC and stuff like that. It happens. But you're managing a game whose expectations are stratospheric. Dota players are obsessed with one thing and one thing only. It is Dota. That is it. Everything else is secondary. I need a break from Dota. I need a break from Dota. That's it. They just need a break. They're coming back. They're coming right back. But sometimes you got to fill your time with something else. You've had a very intense game. Last 3 games have gone 2 hours plus, and you lost them all. It's sometimes you need a break, but they never leave. I mean, I've played it pretty much every day for nearly 10 years. I should tell you something. I give up on everything. I quit most games. I barely finish books, but Dota, I just love it. I don't know why. So, yeah, the hero is inside you. I would say the hero is inside each and every one of you, waiting to get out. And your hero is out there in the pool ready to be picked. And you're going to be amazing at it. I guarantee you.
You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Dota's Hotel California. That reference might date me. That's fine.
Please. You look about 25. Come on.
Gotta go up a little. Good song though, but I think that's a pretty good primer for everybody watching. I hope that you consider giving Dota a try. I know we are gonna have a lot of hardcore Dota fans here though, and Ted, Pyrion, you and I have been flexing our playtime numbers as being near that 10K mark. So I'd like to see some flexes in the comments just to know what other hour count are we working on.
Yeah.
with people here.
Shame
I
yourself.
really want to see.
Let's find out how many years of your life you spent playing this video game. I mean, I don't want any menu idle time. I don't want any idling on the main menu. I never do that. It's game time only. And I want to, these people, I'm talking to you, Fogged. I see Fogged on the main menu all the time, idle. He's like, oh, I got 20,000 hours. Yeah, how much of that was idle, Yanis? Huh? I'm talking active play.
Yeah. Yeah, also
going
casting.
by games played is a better metric, I'd say. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah, well, let's show us what you've got. And if you are here from the Dota anime or interested in the Dota anime, we did have a chance to interview the guy who created and wrote the whole thing. So that is on this channel. It'll be linked in the comments.
Wow.
Before we let you leave, you did do a stream shout out in there, but you want to do like a general, how do people find you? How do maybe they join this noob goon Discord? Let's did I get the terms right?
No, you got it spot on. It just sounded so funny the way you said it. You see, you really, with Venom, this noob goon Discord, that's literally what it is. So if you come to my Twitch channel, I stream pretty much every morning and every evening, GMT, like 9 or 10 until about 3 or 4, and then again from about 8 until about 11 or 12. We play Dota pretty much every day. If you want to stop by and watch some noob Dota, Tuesdays, 8 p.m. GMT, that's when we do our noob stream, where we get all the goons from the Discord to play each other 5v5, and me and a couple of my mates who are quite high MMR watch them and laugh at their terrible plays and tell them what they should have done. So yeah, that's always a good laugh. Honestly, I'm not even kidding. During this lockdown, that has been one of the highlights of my week on a Tuesday. Everybody's ready. I turn on the stream, there's like people, yeah, it's in-house night, yeah, like that. They just can't wait. So that's great. And that's a decent place to start. There are lots of streamers out there who are very serious. They don't say much. They just go, oh, God, this dude sucks, and just report people. Don't watch any of those guys. Come and watch me, and I'll hold your hand and I'll show you what Dota is all about. By the way, what was the guy that wrote the anime? He's a Dota player, right? Like, he must play.
No. So
what?
His name's Ashley Miller. If you want to look him up, I think he said he'd played a few games of League, but he hadn't tried Dota.
Fine.
I'll send it to you. Don't worry. He watched Lorgasms. He dove into the community.
Oh, Christ. He watched Slax's content. That's the sales pitch. That's how he learned Dota. That's what informed his anime creation.
So this is going to drop after the cartoon releases. So, for those watching, you'll have to check in with Pyrion on his stream, maybe on his Twitter, and see if Lorgasm was enough to educate the man on this cartoon. But
I mean, to be fair, Slax does know the lore inside out. That dude is obsessed. Like, when they bring out new stuff, he's like, new lore. I was like, what are you talking about? How's that the most exciting part? He loves it. So yeah, he's a good source for this cartoon, I'm sure.
Yes, so Sir Action Slack's great source for entertaining Dota content. Pyrion, great source for entertaining educational content. There's a lot of things out there. We just want to say thank you for, sticking with us throughout this interview and being interested in learning about Dota, or being a longtime fan and shaming us in the comments, whatever works for you.
Bring it on!
Yeah, I'm gonna... Let's see what you got. So thank you everyone for watching. We hope you enjoyed. And as always, this is Exploring Esports. We drop every week exploring a different esport. So consider subscribing to the channel if you enjoyed this. We'll see you on the next episode.